Okay, guys, let's just get things set up here for a second, if you will. I am recording this or live streaming this on my GoPro, so if you give me a second, I'm gonna set some things up here, if you will. Set some things up and all that. Well, we can. And yeah, hold on for a sec while I do this. Okay. Oops, I don't want that. AWC. You see the title, obviously. You kind of have an idea of what I'm going to talk about here. But yeah, the IWC, the YWC, everybody that does things for a living when it comes to wrestling, talking about it and all that, you know, this past week, you know, they let it be known to Rock, hey, you know, we're not buying into, you know, the excuse you're giving. You know, we're not buying into it whatsoever. Because they feel that's all it really is, an excuse. He's trying to deflect, you know, blame away from himself, when in fact he should be taking, you know, responsibility, you know, for what happened this past week. And again, the YWC is, you know, they're letting him know it. They're letting him hear it. And again, he's trying to deflect blame. He's trying to, I guess, calm things down. But the truth is, he can't. He can't calm things down because he brought it on himself. I mean, you involve yourself, you know, in this situation with Cody and John Cena, where basically you want Cody to sell his soul, John Cena sells his soul, and everything, and you know, you basically you give the illusion that, you know, you're gonna be involved, you know, up till and after WrestleMania, and yet all of a sudden, you know, you don't do that. You don't show up. You know, you're not in the thick of it, if you will. You know, you're not in the thick of it, if you will, to show up or anything. And a lot of fans are not happy. They're not thrilled. And, you know, you can't blame fans for feeling that way. You can't blame fans for being like, well, where is he? You know, where's the guy that basically is a part of this? You know, he started all this. You know, where is he? And everything. You know, you can't be part of something and essentially, oh, there we go. I'm just double checking my computer here and trying to edit some stuff. You know how your laptops and PCs get for a while, right? Yeah, basically, basically they show up, you know, when they want to, and every, or not show up, but basically, I'm just, like I said, trying to fix something here. But basically, you know how your laptops, PCs get after a while. You know, they want you to do updates, and maybe the update thing's not working, and all that, and then all of a sudden it's like it's trying to work, and just one of those situations to where you're like, okay, what's going on here, kind of deal, right? You know, so yeah, it's one of those situations. But anyway, to get on point here, and hopefully I can link this without any issues. But yeah, you know, a lot of people are not happy. I got a cough drop in my mouth, so I do apologize. But not a lot of people are happy, you know, with Rock's answer. You know, they're not happy, you know, with, you know, the excuse, you know, he gave on Pat McAfee. And then what he said to Dave LaGreca in response to his rant, it's like, dude, you brought this on yourself. You know, you brought this whole scenario, you know, upon yourself. So you can't, you know, blame the fans for being upset with you. You can't blame Dave LaGreca, you know, for being upset with you. You can't blame, you know, A and B Convos, Wrestling Edition, Just Alex, JD from NY206 Off the Script, Solomonster. You cannot blame any of these people. Greg Morgan, myself. You can't blame anybody for coming out and talking about it. Or even Sean Ross Sapp, because I'm looking here on Twitter, and one of the titles that Sean Ross Sapp, has for his current live stream is Rock throws creative under the bus. So, again, it's like, Rock, you brought this on yourself, and you can't blame people like Dave Greca. You can't blame people like, JD or Alex or Solomon or anybody, for coming out and calling you out for your BS. Hell, I guarantee you, Pat McAfee, if you go back and watch that interview, he loves working for WWE, he's a huge fan, but I can almost tell you that Pat McAfee, in the back of his mind, and I'm sure his cohorts on that show, in the back of their minds, maybe even off screen, because we didn't see them when Pat was talking to The Rock, or talking to Twain, excuse me, but I guarantee you, they're probably all thinking in the back of their minds, it's not facially expressing like, is this guy trying to BS us, and everything? I guarantee you that was going through the back of Pat McAfee's mind, that was going through the back of his cohorts' minds on the Pat McAfee show. I guarantee you Michael Cole, who sometimes contributes to that show and probably was watching it live, live with the rest of us, is probably thinking to himself as well, like, is this guy trying to BS us? Is he trying to fool us? It don't make sense. To me, it's like, it's like Rock, he lost the plot is what he did. He's more enamored with what he's going to do outside of WWE than what he's doing in WWE. And that's what's getting him in trouble. That's what's getting him in a lot of freaking trouble. And you can't blame, like I said, anybody. Can't blame anybody, in the IWC for being upset. You can't. You can't blame anybody that talks about wrestling for a living for being upset. You can't do that. You can't, blame them for, basically saying, not saying, but ranting. I to put it. I'm trying to link some people here on my video. I do apologize if I'm a little distracted. But you can't blame anybody for coming out and saying what they're saying. You can't blame them. And by the way, super chats are open in doing this if you want to watch and everything. But like I said, you can't blame people for being upset. You can't blame them. As I check something here for a second, guys. Hold on. But yeah, you can't blame them for being upset. I mean, good thing I wasn't watching on Sunday because I was with family. I was with family that day, spending Easter with them. And I'm kind of glad I wasn't watching or anything, because I probably would have been acting the same way. And I'm just looking at a commercial coming up. Hold on. I mean, good thing I wasn't watching on Sunday because I was with family. Okay, I was just double checking. I want to make sure the live stream's working. I do apologize. But like I said, good thing I was with family that day, because I guarantee you if I was watching and I saw that, it would take me a bit to process. But I guarantee you, I'd be like, wait a minute, what is this? After hearing probably what everybody else has said, again, it would take me time to process, because maybe I'd been drinking a little too much or whatever the case may be. But if I had been watching, even I'd be like, okay, later on after hearing what Alex had to say, what JD had to say, what anybody else had to say, even I would probably be like, wait a minute, I'd be like, wait a minute, now that I think about it, they do have a point. What was that? What was that? Especially if you go back and watch it. I mean, when I saw that John won, and then I saw, I'll be honest with you too. When I saw that John won, reading the Twitter off my phone here, when I was reading that John won and everything, I was like, okay, cool. But then when I read how he won it, I'm thinking, okay, Travis Scott interfered, but where's The Rock? Yeah, it's like, yeah, I am happy that John got a 17th title. But I'm thinking, where's The Rock? Where is he? Why is it Travis Scott only? And again, I listened to what everybody else had to say. And when I went back And when I go back and listen to what they said and kind of see the highlights a little bit as well, I get what people are saying. It's like, wait a minute. You involved yourself. You involved yourself. You know, from the very beginning. From the very beginning, you've involved yourself with this whole situation with Cody. You know, from not just last year, but this year, you've involved yourself with the situation with Cody, and yet you don't have you don't have, you know, I don't know what is it, the gumption to say, hey, or to tell yourself, hey, I need to be at WrestleMania, you know, to, you know, make this all make sense. You didn't have the gumption to do that. And yet now you want to know why fans are critical? Because you, my friend, just checking my fridge, making sure my fridge is on and everything. You know, sorry about that, but sometimes I have to turn the computer off. I mean, not the computer, I have to turn off the fridge a little bit in case my computer starts doing the whole not responding, and because it's loading little updates in the background stuff. But anyway, getting back on point, you know, you wonder why fans are upset, right? You wonder why fans are upset, you know, as to, you know, the outcome of that main event. Because you integrated yourself in this entire situation. Not just from last year, but this year. Everybody was expecting the payoff, excuse me, the payoff to be you and Cody in a match either at the Rumble or at WrestleMania. That's what they were expecting. That's what they were expecting. Now, when we got John and Cody, that's fine. But fans expected, okay, if John's going to turn heel, it's going to be at Mania. And and that's why everybody has been bringing that up as, you know, that being the more logical way, that would have been, I should say, the more logical way to go. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I said this before in my other video, you know, my audio video I did yesterday and the on-screen video I did on Wednesday. You know, I said that Rock, you know, people allude to him, and he even alludes to him himself, as the most powerful man in all of Hollywood. The most powerful man in entertainment, sports entertainment. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you allude to yourself as that, if others allude to you as that, there's got to be truth to it, right? So if you are that kind of individual where you have a lot of pull, then shouldn't you have the ability to tell the folks at Seven Bucks Productions, as well as that you own, by the way, or Zoa Energy Drink, which you own, or your Papa Tui perfume stuff that you own, you have a business in, or your Papa Tui alcohol drink, whatever the case may be? Don't you have the right? Don't you have, you know, the power to tell them, hey guys, I gotta black out these certain dates between, you know, the end of, you know, the start of February to mid-April? Don't you have the power to do that? Don't you have the power to tell your agents that are trying to get you massive movie roles, working with the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio and Martin Scorsese and so on? Don't you have the power to say, hey guys, I can't do anything for right now on these dates. I got to black them out because I got to help build to WrestleMania? Don't you have that kind of power if you are alluded to, if not acknowledged, as the most powerful man in Hollywood, or at least one of them? You know, don't you have that kind of power? Because if I had that kind of power and I was in that position you were in, I would do that. I would say, guys, you know, I want to film the movie with you, Leo. I want to film the movie with you, Martin. But you know what? Can we hold back just hold back you know, a couple of weeks, you know, down the line, like black out a couple of weeks and everything. And if they ask why, you could just say, well, because I'm going to take part in, I got to take part in building to the match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania because I'm an integral part. Don't you have that kind of power? Don't you have that kind of power? Because, again, if I had that power, that's what I would do. And I think anybody watching this now live or watching it later, post live, you know, I guarantee you people would say the same thing. That if they had the power to do, you know, or had the power that you say you have, and people allude to you having, that they would do the same thing. They would not, you know, hesitate to black out certain weeks and times to help build to something that they are heavily involved in. And yet, you come on Pat McAfee, you say the things that you do, and can you blame anybody from Dave LaGreca on Busted Open Radio? Can you blame anybody from JD from NY206, A&B Combos, or A&B Convos, Wrestling Edition? Can you blame Marked by Wrestling Stephen, if you will? Can you blame, Greg Morgan? Can you blame Solomon? Can you blame Jonathan Coachman, a man you worked with at one point, or not just at one point, but on several occasions, many occasions? Can you blame Jonathan Coachman? Can you blame Vince Russo, who, by the way, wrote some of your material when you were in WWE before he went to WCW? Can you blame any of them for being angry at what we got at WrestleMania? Can you blame them? No, you can't. And coming up with a response like you did to Dave LaGreca by saying, dude, don't rant, it's not healthy, and everything, and I'm inviting you to be part of the creative meetings. Can you not see what you're doing? You are adding more fuel to the fire that you already started. That's what you're doing. You are adding more fuel to the fire that you already started, and you just don't see it. And here's what's crazy too. Rock comes out, puts that Instagram response to Dave LaGreca, telling him not to rant, it's not healthy, inviting him sarcastically to be part of the meetings with him and Cena and Cody and Brian Gertz and everybody else. Can you blame anybody when they see basically Triple H, Paul Levesque's name not there, and they can only assume that he's included as everybody else? Can you blame them for having the conspiracies that I talked about yesterday in my audio video, as well as on my on-camera video on Wednesday? Can you blame them for feeling and having these conspiracy theories that they feel you, Rock, are trying to get Paul Levesque out of power because you didn't get what you wanted last year? Can you blame them? For feeling that way, for believing that, for having that conspiracy theory, going through their head? You can't. You can't blame them because of the fact that all evidence in their eyes are pointing to that small fire in that fire pit that I mentioned yesterday, suddenly starting to grow slowly, inch by inch. You can't blame anybody. You can't blame anybody for feeling that way. You can't. You can't blame anybody, for feeling that way whatsoever, or for wanting to believe, for wanting to speculate. Trying to find the right words to say it. I'm also getting over an allergy cough. But for wanting to, speculate that and theorize that, you can't blame them. You can't blame them because of what they see in that Instagram post. Nor can you blame them because of the fact that when Triple H did his Hall of Fame speech, he thanked everybody that contributed to his career, behind the scenes, in the ring, everybody, even his rivals, except one person, that being you, that being The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Can you blame anybody? Look, I said this yesterday in my audio video, and I said it before. If there is any truth to Rock wanting to have creative control in the company, have his team in creative control in the company, guess what? Easy solution. Give Rock's team SmackDown, let Triple H's team run Raw, and let's see who does it better. Let's see who creatively comes up with the better ideas for the talent, from the main event, upper mid-card, lower mid-card. Let's see who comes up with the better ideas, character and story-driven wise, and then we can decide maybe this team is better suited to do both, or maybe this team is suited to do both. Okay? That's an easy solution. That's an easy solution, in my opinion. You know, no questions asked. No questions asked. And I don't think anybody would disagree with that. I don't think anybody would disagree with that whatsoever, because it's a fact. It is a fact. No one would disagree with that, period. Nobody watching, like I said, right now, live or post-live, is going to disagree with that. And here's the thing too, Rock. You say Ari Emanuel called you up because tickets were not selling well at the Sky Dome, the Rogers Center, for Elimination Chamber. Did they have to call you up, for the Elimination Chamber last year in Australia? No, they didn't. They didn't have to call you up. Everything was already set in motion, thank God, or at least pivoted to a direction that was set in motion that didn't really interfere as much. But did they have to call you then? No. No, they didn't. And what this tells me, and I say it with all due respect to Ari Emanuel, because I said it in my audio video, and I said it on my on-screen video. He still obviously has a lot to learn about the ins and the outs of the pro wrestling business. He still has a lot to learn. Mostly, one of the biggest things is, pro wrestling is not MMA or boxing. So you don't need to charge tickets out to wazoo for people to come and watch. So, obviously, he still has a lot to learn in the process about the ins and outs of the wrestling business. Look, Rock, I don't know if you'll watch this, but I said before, and I'll say it again, you could take if you're upset, because one of the things people are pointing out is they believe you are upset that one thing Marked by Wrestling, Steven, said in the live stream that he did with A and B Convos, is that he truly believes you are trying to purposely, not just on screen, but behind the scenes, sabotage Cody, because Cody basically came out in the WrestleMania 40 press conference in Las Vegas last year and called out the fact that the match he was going to allow you to have, he was going to allow you to have with Roman Reigns at 40 that he stepped away from, Marked by Steven believes that you are out to get Cody legitimately because he took that away by coming out, worked or not, and calling out the fact that you showing your family tree and then saying, oh, by the way, the match between me and Roman, it's not about me teaching him a lesson, it's just about the family. We want to show the family how powerful we are, how great we are. We want to show the wrestling world what the Owati family is about. It's like, can you blame Cody or anybody else, worked or not, shoot or not? Can you blame them for him coming out and saying this is grade A bullshit? Can you blame him for that? No. No. Because in the eyes of a lot of people, they, along with Cody, thought that, oh, Rock's here to teach Roman a lesson, put Roman in his place, teach him the fact that if you're going to be tribal chief, don't abuse your family, fight your own battles as well. We all thought that. Let's be honest, we all thought that. But when you did what you did, and everything, even though you probably knew already that you were going to have to go this direction, can you blame the outcry? Can you blame the outcry by the fans? You can't. You can't blame them. Because what is the number one numero uno rule that every wrestling promotion, including WWE/WWF/WWF, has always said is the main purpose, is the main goal? To give the fans what they want and to put them first. And when they saw what you were, presenting at that press conference last year, and even though you knew it was going to get the response that it did, even after, people realized, oh, wait a minute, Cody won the Royal Rumble, what the F? Can you blame them for being upset? Can you blame Cody, work shoot or not? Can you blame Cody for coming out and saying what he did? No, you can't. You can't blame Cody. You can't blame the fans for being upset the way they were, just as they are now. Because all you had to do, Rock, and everybody watching this knows this to be true, all you had to do to salvage the situation, to calm the fires, is just come out and say, okay, guys, here's the truth. Yes, I want my match with Roman, and it's not about me, teaching him a lesson. It's about basically paying homage to my family and showing the wrestling world and you as fans why the Awadi family is the real most powerful family in professional wrestling. That's all you had to do. And if you would have done that, guess what? We would have understood. We would have understood. Okay, they just want to, use WrestleMania 40 as a way to pay tribute to the legacy of the family. Okay, cool. Fine. No problem. But you didn't do that. You did not do that whatsoever. And again, you can't blame the fans for being upset. You can't blame Cody, storyline-wise, legitimately, whatever, for being upset. You can't blame the talent for being upset. So you have to understand that when you integrate yourself into something that you basically pivoted to a year ago and made into one of the biggest storylines in sports entertainment, professional wrestling, and you resume it like with another chapter to it, add another chapter to it, people expect you to be part of the conclusion of that chapter. But yet you basically going to come out on Pat McAfee and say, oh, I called John, I called Cody, and I told him the final boss is done. Final boss's work is done now. He's going back into shadows. That to a lot of people is you saying that in story, by saying the final boss's work is done, he's going back into shadows. That, in theory, for people, watching and listening to that, is you saying that basically, your character, the final boss, won. You beat Cody, you got the belt off him, you won the war. My friend, this storyline war, work shoot or not, this storyline, this war, on camera, story-wise, it's just beginning. It's just beginning. You have to rectify this. You have to rectify it. Everybody uses other movie franchises and all that as good examples. Oh, let's say Endgame. Endgame, for example. Let's say that ended, not Endgame, but Infinity War. Let's say Infinity War just ended, and then they decide, okay, instead of going to Endgame the following year, we're going to start out the new phase and that's it. New characters and everything. Wait a minute, what's going on here? And then, at the same time, they're starting a new phase and they're acting like, oh, the Thanos thing never happened. It's like, that doesn't make sense, okay? You have to make it make sense. You have to make it make sense, okay? I mean, I'm a fan. Everybody knows this watching this channel. I've talked about it live, recorded, on camera recorded, audio, video recorded. I've talked about this live numerous times. I'm a Transformers fan, long time since, for over 40 years. I've been a Sonic the Hedgehog fan for over 30 years. I have been a fan of MLP FIM sort of since the beginning, not really. But even I look at some of the stories they've done, some of the moments they've done, and even I say to myself that, okay, that didn't make sense, but guess what they do? They know fans are going to see what they've done, and they rectify it. They make sense out of it. I mean, Optimus Prime here died in the 86 movie. Did they leave him dead? No. Yeah, they brought him back for Dark Awakening because they knew, hey, we got to bring him back. We got to give him some closure, outside of what happened in the movie. But did that satisfy anybody? No. You know what they did when they started hearing complaints from the parents, from the kids? You know what they did when the movie was possibly still in theaters or in the transition of going from theaters to home video? You know what they did? As quick as they could, they got on the phone and said, hey, TMS or whatever, we need you guys to put together a two-part episode where Optimus Prime comes back and resumes leadership. That's what they did. That's what they did. Okay? You know, that's what they did. They did something like that because that's why we got what we did as a season 3 finale. You know, Twilight becomes an alicorn princess, right? Everybody is like, what the heck does this mean? What's this about, right? You know, everybody wants to know. You know, it needs to make sense. Guess what? Season 4's premiere helps it make sense, and throughout the entire series, it makes sense, and they had the characters in the show explain why it made sense. Okay? Sonic the Hedgehog, Archie Sonic, okay? Always loved that comic. They did the Mecha Sally arc. I was not a fan of that arc because to me, Mecha Sally's not Sally. Alright? Everybody knows that. Everybody has said that was the worst story arc they've ever done. Because it was repetitive. You know, some things here and there were interesting, but it was mostly repetitive. You know, with Freedom Fighters, you know, chasing after, you know, you got the trio of Tails, Sonic, and Amy going after the Death Egg, trying to rescue Sally, rinse and repeat. A few changes here and there, that's fine. But even though we didn't like it, you know what they did? They made sense as to why Sally sacrificed herself to robotization. They made sense of it. They gave a reasoning. And they even tried to follow up by having the Freedom Fighters try to save her. Or try to get through to her. You cannot do something like what you did at Elimination Chamber, nor for the past year, and not decide and then just decide, oh, my work's done. I wanted to focus on John and Cody. No. You can't just pivot, you know, just divert it away from you where you've been an integral part and basically put it on somebody else. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. It makes no sense storyline wise. So what you need to do is come out and you need to fix this. You know, a lot of people feel that one of the reasons Rock, you know, is possibly sabotaging Triple H and creative behind the scenes to get his own people in there is because Triple H said, no, Cody turning heel is not a good idea. Cody even saying him turning heel is not a good idea right now. So what does Rock do? Okay, no problem. You want John Cena to be heel? Yeah, it's a good idea. Okay, pass it by John. But a lot of people, they hear this, they read it, you know, and they're like, to them, you can't help, again, like I said earlier, you can't blame them for speculating and theorizing that you're trying to get Hunter and his team out of power and put your team in. Because a lot of people feel that in the back of your mind, they believe that you're looking at being turned down, being made a fool of twice. You, in the back of your mind, is going like, you know what, enough. You know what, enough's enough. The Rock's, you know, I, Dwayne, am not going to take this anymore. I'm going to sabotage them, teach them a lesson that when I want something, it gets done. You can't blame them. You can't blame them for feeling the way you're feeling that way, believing that, theorizing that. Rock, again, I said earlier, you come out and say that you are the most powerful man one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, entertainment, sports entertainment, professional wrestling. Everybody else, you know, around you or associated with you says the same thing. And if that's true, as I said earlier, you should have told anybody you're working with, even your own production company, hey, I got to black out these certain dates from, you know, the beginning of February to the mid part of April because I got to take part in this integral storyline with John Cena, you know, and Cody Rhodes for the championship at WrestleMania 41. But you didn't do that. And yet you want to put up this lame excuse. You, Rock, need to rectify this. The examples I used as a fan of other things, that was their way of rectifying it. Rectifying those issues. Optimus Prime dying, hey, we got to bring him back. They rectified it. Twilight suddenly becoming an alicorn out of nowhere at the end of season 3, season 4 they rectified it. Sally becoming Mecha Sally, they gave a reason and they tried to find a way to rectify it. Point is, you do not do something like this and just decide to step away when you are an instrumental, central piece of the whole damn story. Okay? So if I'm Rock, and I don't know if he'll listen to this, but if I'm The Rock, I I go home, I sit in my office, I read carefully everything, I listen to everything people are saying, and I tell myself, okay, I effed up, I gotta go rectify this, and just come out on Raw, come out on SmackDown, come out at Backlash, wherever, and just shoot. Just shoot. Unscripted as to why you did this. Come out and say that you're still mad you didn't get your match with Roman. You know, just tell the truth. Just shoot. Be honest. And if you do that, maybe the fires that are burning out of control right now because of your excuse, your reasonings, will cool down. That's all you have to do, in my opinion. Just do it. Just do it. Set an example for your family. Okay? Set an example for your daughters, for your future grandkids. Do the right thing, Rock. Do the right thing. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Because if you don't, people are not going to be happy to see you anymore. They're not going to be happy to see you anymore. They're not going to watch you on television. And if what they believe is true about you wanting to try to get Triple H out, you know, out of power creatively and all that, guess what? That's going to come back to bite you. Because as I've said before, Ari Emanuel, along with Mark Shapiro and Nick Khan, wanted Triple H in charge of creative. They wanted him in the position he's in. So if it gets bad enough, it's not going to be him that loses his job or gets removed and everything. It's going to be you. You're going to be removed from the board of directors. You're going to be out of power. Then what? You will never get your match with Roman. If you want your match with Roman, come out, be honest. Shoot. Tell the truth. Because the IWC, the YWC, it ain't like the past. It ain't like the past. We can read between the lines. We can see things. You can't hide it anymore. So please, Rock, if you have any dignity, and I know you do, a lot of us feel you do, be a man. Come out on Raw, come out on SmackDown, come out at Backlash, whenever, come out online, just shoot, tell the truth, let people know that you're upset that you didn't get your match against Roman last year. You're still upset about that. You're upset that your idea to turn Cody heel was turned down by Triple H and everything, and Cody Rhodes. You know, tell them you're just upset that you didn't get what you wanted, and that all you want is something that, you know, in return. Either it's your match with Roman, or at least Cody agreeing that, yes, I will turn heel before the year's out. That's all you have to do. Just come out, explain the real reason. Don't bullshit anybody anymore. Just be honest with us, honest with yourself. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Thank you all for watching live while I'm recording this via my GoPro. Thank you for all the support and everything. Again, comment down below and everything. I don't know if anybody's commented in the live chat yet. I'm going to check. Right now my computer's loading, so I don't want to take a chance right now and everything. You know how that is. You know, you try to do something and it doesn't. Well, maybe I'll get something here. Hold on. But and hello, your Bear Claw. Thank you for tuning in. I got 62 views. Dang, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thank you all, guys, for tuning in. Really appreciate that. 62 views, 1 chat, 10 concurrent views, and everything. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Honestly, it's great to see. But yeah, Rock, anybody listening to this right now live or watching it afterwards will agree that you need just to come out and fix this. Be real. Be real with yourself. Be real with the fans. Because we see through it. We see through what's happening. You can't hide it anymore. Just be honest. We see it. You know, and also try to quarrel this suspicion and everything that, you know, you want to oust Triple H, because the more you come out and blow things up, the more they feel that way. And again, like I said, if there's any truth to it, I said this in the audio video yesterday, I'll say it again. If there's any truth to this, you know, and this rumor and stuff gets to Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, and Mark Shapiro, they need to sit you guys down, that being Rock, that being you, Rock, that being Triple H, sit you down, work something out, and if maybe some kind of compromise can come to be, that's fine. Maybe have Triple H, as I said in the audio video, just set it, go about his business as usual, but set aside that one spot just in case Rock wants to say, hey, I want to be part of this. That way, you know in advance, and that, Rock can let him know in advance, maybe a month before. Let him know in advance. He can write you in and still have things go off without a hitch. That's all he has to do. That's all that should be done, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But honestly, Rock, if I'm you, like I said, you want the ranting, you want, the blame to go away. Come out, be a man, tell the truth. That's all we ask. But anyway, though, guys, like I said, thank you all for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Post live. Ring the bell for notifications. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video and everything. Also, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. You can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Audible from Amazon, Radio Public, Overcast. Anywhere there's a podcast, you will find mine there. Also, you can find me, ladies and gentlemen, over at VENMO, at BW Rosas, Rumble.com, BW Rosas, Odyssey.com, at BW Rosas -5. You can also find me at Patreon.com at BW Rosas. I do have a video up there, a new one, where I talk about adult film actress Kira Reed. Check that out. That's under the $3 and $5 tier. $1 tier also helps out as a tip if you want to do that. Also, guys, check me out. Like I said, check me out there. You can also follow me also on twitch.tv and kick.com. I got to get those up and going again. And also, you can follow me at tiktok.com, at Twitter, aka x.com, at BW Rosas, both at BW Rosas, TikTok at BW Rosas, Twitter, aka X at BW Rosas, and at Blue Sky at BW Rosas. Sorry if I'm a little flubbed here. Just doing all this live and just letting all this out right now. I think anybody watching this live right now or post live understands that. You get a little flabbergasted, if you will, when you do this stuff. But anyway, though, guys, those are just my thoughts on the YWC and the IWC going nuclear. And honestly, can you blame them, for doing so based on what happened? And again, I say it in closing, Rock, if you're watching, I don't know if you are, be a man. Be a true high chief. Come out, tell the truth. Just tell the truth of you're still mad you didn't get your match with Roman. You're mad you didn't get your way of getting Cody to go heel. Just tell the truth. Because, again, people are speculating, several things. They're speculating you trying to, oust Triple H from power and put your team in. Some are speculating that the only reason you want Cody to turn heel is so you can come back as the babyface and be the one to beat him for the title once he gets the title back, and then have Roman beat you for the title and keep, give it to him, keep it in the family. Just be a man, Rock. Come out, clear the air, and I guarantee you, if you do, things will settle down. But that's all I'm going to say, guys. Let me know again what your thoughts are overall.